Welcome, welcome. Justin, Lawful, welcome. Options, Lawful, greetings. Kem, Lawful, greetings. We're about to get started shortly. We're going to get into some more interesting detail today. Please share the live, tap the screen, and get ready for some more interesting information. We're going to talk a little bit about the video that's currently going viral. With the boss man. Joel, Lawful, greetings. Yeah, we're going to talk about the conduct of the police for a little bit. And then we're going to get into some deeper detail on some more pressing matters. Yeah, I saw that they did pepper spray the minister, and I noticed that there are people out there who, Mr. Dunn, Lawful, greetings. See you passing by. Welcome, welcome. There are a lot of people who speak from an emotional standpoint, and I certainly empathize with these people. I empathize with those who view the videos, and yes sir, they view the videos and they have their opinions, and there is always a set of people, and sometimes I don't caution people, but let me just put my disclaimer out there from now. I am not a lawyer, I am not an attorney, I am not providing legal advice. Anything I say is my own opinions. If you learn something, good for you. I don't provide consultations, I don't provide guidance. I don't walk you through your situation. I don't do any of that. Okay? If you want to learn something, you can come to class. And by coming to class, we mean you can go to voiceofjamaica.com and you can sign up as a signatory, and you will have access to the live groups, to the classes, to the videos, to the replays of the TikToks. You will have access to those as well. But that's just not for public consumption for any and everybody. So anyways, there are people out there who, you know, when they watch some of these videos and they see, you know, actions by the police, they see situations where people are being treated violently, situations that you might say, yo, that wrong. Brother just come out and say that wrong, right? And this platform that I have created here, it is not something that I use to bash anyone. If something is lawful or I have, you know, a perspective on it as it relates to the law, then I speak that way. I am not speaking from an emotional perspective. So, Dimple, I soon bring it up. I am not going to speak from an emotional perspective, right? I'm going to speak from the perspective of how I view the law. So, yes, you might see a situation where morally it is unacceptable, right? You can't see somebody beat another person and say it is justified, morally speaking. Regardless of, I'm not going to say regardless, because there are some situations where you're going to say, yes, beat him, right? But without the full circumstances of what's going on, you might not have the same view that you have now just because you're objectively watching what is on screen. In your mind, you're saying that is wrong, that's uncalled for. But you don't have the full information. Let's say that individual just unalive someone. Would you still be of the same view, right? What if that individual had committed some atrocious act, right? What would your view be watching the video again? So I don't have any of that information. So I can't come out and outburst like, yeah man, this for go on, yeah man, that for go on, because I don't have all the facts. I can only talk about what is on screen. And therefore, if I make a commentary, it is strictly based on what I see. And even the latest video where the man is in the bus and then you have the other guy who is trying to videotape the situation and he got beaten. I totally understand how people feel, right? But at the same time, you have to get past your emotions when you're talking about the law. The law has nothing to do with, hey, me feel like him should have angle this different. Feel like, well, here's the thing. Let's say someone breaks the law, right? And that individual who breaks the law, he is now looking for protection of the law. You see how that no, it no flow? It no really make common sense? If you break the law, yes, there are legal ways to handle people who break the law. But when you break the law and you are now looking for protection of the same thing that you violated, it becomes an oxymoron, right? It becomes something that is like, you violate your house and you expect it for shelter you and protect you at night. It kind of don't make no sense. Again, me not justify the police actions, because as you can see, I speak about when police do wrong, me call them out. When them do right, me call them out, right? But in situations where, let's say, the police say, sir, do this or do that. Sir, you're under arrest. Ma'am, stop doing this, you're under arrest. Let me ask you another question. If the police tell us you're under arrest, what can you do to stop the police from arresting you? You can just explain yourself. What else? You can't try fight the police. You can't try be violent with the police. You can't try run from the police. Like people, common sense is not common. The guy Who did I try video? Let's talk about him. The guy who was trying to video. Many people did not watch the whole thing, you know. They watch it one time and then they realize where the guy came from. The guy came from across the street on the other side. It is when I was explaining the video, I played it again and showed the arrows because it is kind of a nuance. So many things going on, you don't realize that the guy actually came from across the street. He wasn't there. He left from across the street, walk all the way across, and then go in at the situation where the police them there. Brother, again, him never need to get beat up so bad. I don't see how that is justified. No beating is justified. Yes, apprehend him. You know, rough him up like a bit. But not beat him, thump him, kick him, lick him. No, absolutely not. But again, from a lawful standpoint, if you go in the middle of an investigation or of some kind of controversy that the police is trying to calm down, I can't depend on your side there, so. You see me? Again, I not justify no form of beating. The man went in the bus. Before the police them break the glass, you know. Them go in front of the bus. You see them a peep in there. You see them go around on the other side. The man in the bus and him now come out. Mind you, this is not a bus on the side of the road. Man in the middle of the road, halfway in the other lane. Again, I not justify beating, but at the same time, have common sense. You think you can sit down there the whole day? You think say, if... Anyways, when I beat a dead horse, you get it. Supposed to get it from there. So, people, there are some situations where we can avoid them. Like I said, there are situations where the police use the word comply, right? And it simply means if the police have to do something, you do it. You follow the instructions of, right? Or it actually means you agree to do what it is that you need to do, comply. Sometimes, not all the time. You comply with the police, yes, you might get a ticket. Yes, you might still get rough up. But in many cases, you can go your yard and go sleep in your bed. In many cases, you can go eat some KFC afterwards. Yes, you might get a $10,000 or a $20,000 ticket or some other penalty, right? But you can deal with that at a later date. But yes, when time police then grab you and start do certain things, most likely you're going to one jail cell. And if then decide say you're not seeing a judge today, what you going to do? What you going to do? Anyways, we could get past that. See? Alright. So, we're going to talk about a different topic. We're going to step away from that set of details. Let us talk about land in Jamaica. I know I hear about land. I know we talk about land today. Drop a 1 in the chat if you want to talk about land today. Alright, Dimple, I'm going to bring you up. I don't know if that's what you really want to talk about still, but if you're still there, I'm going to bring you up. Alright. Quite Dimple gone. If you want to talk about land, drop a 1 in the chat. And we can do a little bit of a deep dive as it relates to the lawful perspective on land. We see 3-1 so far. I don't know why I hear about land. I'm not sure. Only have a few people interested in hearing about the lawful perspective on land. Alright, we got some more ones that come in. Yeah man, drop a 1 in the chat if you want to talk about land. We don't want to talk about things that we can't change. We don't want to talk about things where just emotional right now. Like we talk about something we can figure out. Something where we can benefit from. Right? Signatories, I don't know what we are talking about already. But we are going to look into a very interesting act that we touched on before, but we never really deep dive on it. Zin? Alright. So let us talk about something called the Crown Property Act, aka the Crown Property Vesting Act. You know, this was an important piece of legislation. And people don't understand that everything they do in society has to do with the law. You see, if you want to do anything with property, if you want to do anything with any kind of interest you have in something, the law has a foothold on it. You can't really do anything just one-off. Excuse me. If you try to do anything one-off, at some point it will catch up on you, because if you want to do it legit, per se, in the system, the law is going to come into play, right? And when the law comes into play, you have only certain options. So let's talk about land. We're going to talk about official land, meaning land we have to go through the National Land Agency. And we're also going to talk about so-called capture land. And we're going to talk about squatters. See? So, let us take a look at the Crown Property Vesting Act. I'm going to show you something. So let us go over to the computer. See? So this is the document we're referring to, the Crown Property Vesting Act. Right? And as in many of the other acts, you will see they have a definition section. So them tell you what things mean. Right? Accountant General, Commissioner means the Commissioner of Lands appointed under Section 3. Any enactment in force in this island at the time of commencement of this act. Existing means, right? Land means any land of any tenure, and tenements and hereditaments, whether corporal or incorporeal, and houses and other buildings, and includes any estate, right, or interest in, to or over land. Right? Damien, lawful, greetings. So land encompasses anything we go up on ground. Right? Anything. Whether you want to refer to it as a building, depending on space, or a house, depending on space, or whatever, it is land. See? Investment, lawful, greetings. So, this piece of legislation is alleging that it covers anything related to the dirt with the underground. Right? So, if we go down, a matter of fact, this document is only 6 pages. Want to see? 6 pages. And this is the document that governs much of the land controversy that we face. Right? 6 pages. Alright. So when you scroll down, right, we go to, let's go to section 4. Let's look at section 4, right? And on the right side, you see it say, lands vested and to be vested in the commissioner, which is the Commissioner of Lands. Section 4 states, hope you can see, right? All lands which immediately before the commencement of this act were vested in or held by the Chief Secretary are hereby transferred to and vested in the Commissioner and shall be held by him and his successors in the said office for the like estate and interest and to the like extent as such lands were vested in or held by the Chief Secretary. So before this act, there was someone called a Chief Secretary, and that Chief Secretary of lands was the authority that was governing the lands on the island. So now everything that the Chief Secretary was administering now falls under the Commissioner, right? Section 2 says, listen carefully, all lands acquired by whatever means on or after the commencement of this act for the use of the government on this island, right? Pay close attention to these words. For the use of the government of this island, other than lands acquired by the Minister of Housing for the purposes of the Housing Act, shall be vested in the Commissioner for the time being and held by him and his successors in the said office in trust for Her Majesty, her heirs, and successors. So, let us talk about that a little bit. How much time I tell you that there is no such thing as independence? There is no such thing as independence of the people. It was only political independence. With the permits including that trust. Say that again, Kim. That looked like your mistype. There was no such thing as independence. The lands which are vested in the Commissioner is held in what? Held in trust. We are not included in that trust. Exactly. The lands used by the government is held in trust for Her Majesty and the Crown. What if I tell you that is not even the most interesting part of this thing? What if I told you that is not the most interesting part of this legislation? Let us read that again. Other than lands acquired by the Minister of Housing for the purpose of the Housing Act, shall be vested in the Commissioner for the time being and held by him and his successors in the said office in trust for Her Majesty, her heirs, and successors, for the purposes for which such lands are purchased, taken or held under any enactment, or in accordance with the terms of the transfer, conveyance, lease, or will, or other assurance executed in relation thereto. On notice, none of this said the people of Jamaica. No part of this. This has nothing to do with the people. But yet still, it talks about holding things in trust. Many of you don't even know what a trust is. So we can't even get into that right now. But we know, or you should know, that a trust is something that someone owns, something that a corporation or an entity or an individual or a family owns. It is just like a corporation. It is just private. right? It never say public trust. It say trust held by him and his successors in the said office in trust for Her Majesty, right? The only know who's in trust. Exactly. Who then purchase it from? Now, remember we talked about this before, you know. We talked about this before. If the government say them own land, all you have to do is challenge it in court. If them claim say them own the land, demand that the title be produced so you can see who the property was purchased from, who it was transferred from, and where does it go? Who is the new owner? Right? You cannot claim a piece of property adversely without showing that you own the title for it, especially if someone else is occupying it. So here's another interesting thing, right? Here is something interesting. It said, for the use of the government on this island, all lands acquired by whatever means on or after the commencement date for the use of the government of this island. So let us ask ourselves a question. If the government is acquiring lands for use, right? Where do we get this concept of capture land from? Because obviously, the government has to acquire land for use, right? They don't own all the land in Jamaica. Let us say that again. The government does not own all the lands in Jamaica. So when you hear people are talk about crown land, you in your mind, because you grow up and I hear say certain land are crown land, certain land are government land, certain land are this, certain land are that. You can capture a piece of land, you can do this, you can do that. Here say in the law don't mean nothing. Okay? You have to know. You have to know for sure. You can just look on things where you hear over time. You have to have facts and evidence. Right? So, even though this act, which is 6 pages long, explains that all lands acquired by whatever means, right? So they have to show by what means they acquire the land, or how they come to possess it, or how they come to own it, or how they come to control it, right? Then can't just come and say a government land. Because, a matter of fact, let us not just talk about what it should be. Let us talk about what the government actually says. Right? Isn't that the best way to learn? Let us look at the actual text of the National Land Agency. You see the website? nla.gov.jm. Right? Let us look at what they say. Here they have a press release. National Land Agency advises on the process of acquiring crown lands. Government of Jamaica in Jamaica. Right? So they are giving you little hints. You will always see little references to the law, but they are not going to outright tell you everything. Right? So let us talk about this. And this document was created, you see? It was created April 4th, 2025. Right? All right. Let me see if I can zoom in anymore so we all can read what is on this thing. Can I zoom no more? Yeah. All right. Right. So here they pose a question. Who owns crown land in Jamaica? Open, you can see it. It says, in contemporary Jamaica, what is often referred to as crown lands is actually land owned and managed by the Jamaican government. This land is used for various public purposes, including national parks, government buildings, infrastructure, and public services. Crown lands are vested in the Commissioner of Lands, and the National Land Agency manages these assets. What does this mean? It means, as is explained here, crown lands are only those lands that the government is using for a public purpose or for public services. That is crown land. And me say so, at them I tell you so, you can go on the NLA website and go see it for yourself. Me not tell you nothing foreign. Me not tell you nothing where you come out of my imagination. You can go read it for yourself. It depends on them website. Let me read it again for you. Who owns crown land in Jamaica? In contemporary Jamaica, what is often referred to as crown lands is actually land owned and managed by the Jamaican government. This land is used for various public purposes, including national parks, government buildings, infrastructure, and public services. Crown lands are vested in the Commissioner of Lands, and the National Land Agency manages these assets. So, crown lands, again, are only those lands that are used in the public. The government cannot own anything private. It cannot. By the government mandate, by the acts that they are following, all lands acquired by whatever means. You see it say? This is section 4.2 of the Crown Property Vesting Act. All lands acquired by whatever means on or after the commencement date of this act for the use of the government of this island. So it has to be for some government use. The government cannot stockpile and so-called hold the land to sell it to people later. It is unlawful for them to do that. Right? Let me see how far I can zoom this thing. Right? It has to be for a public governmental use. So if it is not being used, the government cannot stockpile it. That's why they can't go around and say a government land is a government land that. Because obviously, something that is actively being used, nobody can go on there. Because say them a claim it and start build up things on it. I mean, come on. Come on now. No sensible workman is going to go on government property and say them are going to start building one house. Right? It's ridiculous. So, if the government don't own a piece of property and fence it round and maintain it and keep it and care it, it is not theirs. It is not the government's property. The property them where they in the bush, the property them where they on the roadside, the property them where they all about the place. Just because you are not paying taxes or registering it or getting it severed or whatever, that does not mean that it is government property. That does not mean it is crown lands. According to law, it is not crown lands. So don't be mistaken, don't be fooled. The government use UDC to stock up lands. They can't. And anyone who is being chased off of their property, you can challenge it in court. Demand the government show the title for the property and also the public purpose for which the property is being demanded. Right now, I build a house on a land it's owned by the Commissioner of Lands, and I need help. I don't know where to seek help. How you know it is Crown property? Did they show you a title? Was it being used for a public purpose? And you got there a build house on it? How did that come to be? That's a question there. Because government land is typically if I can repeat, Kenny. Oh my gosh. Ah la la. They say it on the seaside. That don't mean anything. Alright? When I pay taxes, it's stated owned by the Commissioner of Lands. You see, again, as I have said many times, I don't offer legal advice, right? If I were in that position, I would simply challenge it in court. I mean, if they might come after me, right? Because in some cases, right? In some cases, it is a matter of them never business with you. But then you realize, say, oh shit, well, it looked like this no free and clear, right? And we're gonna go into some other things. If it is not free and clear, or if somebody else own it or whatever, right? I would not dig up a ant's nest. Just live and go on, because at the end of the day, nobody can own land. We are all landholders. You can't carry the land with you when you leave. You can't do nothing with it more than just enjoy it, right? If it was me wouldn't do anything until somebody come after me. Because at the end of the day, you might start an ant's nest and you end up even lose. Right? So, if nothing bother me, I not worry about it. If the government is going to take action, then alright. I think earlier this year, or sometime last year, I don't remember. There was some issue where someone, I don't remember if it was from the government really. And I don't know, I don't remember the facts of the whole situation. All I know is that someone went around and started bulldozing down houses. Right? Now, again, I don't know the full story. I don't know if it went through the courts, because apparently the people got notice, right? They have to move. The government needed some piece of land for something, right? Again, if you don't have this knowledge, where you know, so the Crown Vesting Act is there, and you know that, you know, the government can't just come and just take properties up. It has to be stated what public purpose they need the land for, because typically they need at least probably 110 acre, right? In many cases, to do anything public. So I wouldn't go there digging up situations. If it is that they are going to court, or they have some kind of court order or whatever, right? Or they come with some government paper and whatever. Either I go in myself and go file a demand for an injunction, or I get an attorney, you know, to intervene on the matter for me. Because at the end of the day, the government still has to prove that they acquired the property, or the property is to be used for some public purpose. Then can't just come with one piece of paper and say, come off. That's not how it works. Everything has to go through the courts. So if I am on a piece of property and I have been on there undisturbed, and all of a sudden the government come, we need this to do this, we have to go through the courts. I'm going to file a constitutional claim. I'm going to demand an injunction until this matter is taken care of. Right? So the 4, 5, 10, or 15 years it going to take to go through court. I'm not worry about it. Not worry about it. And then at the end of the day, if they are going to acquire the land, you have to be paid, or compensated in some way so that you can move, so that, you don't lose all of what you have, put into that property up to that time. They can't just come take it just so. They have to compensate you to move. They have to give you fair market value for the property so you can go somewhere else and be comfortable again. So that is how I would approach that. I wouldn't nick up an answerness. Be brave, lawful, greetings. So, it is by their own words, right? They cannot just come around and just start take property. They can't just stockpile property. They can't claim, say, all the land in Jamaica is there. Right? They themselves put these information out there. It's just that people don't go out seeking it. So you won't find it. Right? They explain it here, and even with this explanation, people still might not know what all of this means. But what this means is that the government cannot own private land. That's true. Sometimes that we put problem on ourselves. That's true. And it is ignorance. We're all ignorant of something. We are all ignorant of something. So sometimes we just have to just go and kick back and just make things flow. You see it? We can assert control over everything. Because at the end of the day, we all have an expiration date. So we just have to go and enjoy things as we see them. So I have researched land that I was interested in bush, but near a tourist area. No plan for it and was UDC control it. Yeah, if you have any kind of land close to major areas, typically you're going to have, some ownership being claimed on it already, right? It is always best that you check and make sure that nobody is claiming ownership on a piece of land if you're so-called going to capture a piece, right? So, again, any kind of crown land or anything that is considered crown land, it has to have been managed by the government. It is not something that is in the bush that nobody claim yet. That is nonsense. And that is what, I have heard. I don't know what other people hear. But I have always heard that crown land, a land where in the bush or somewhere where nobody no live, and you have to start pay taxes on it if you get the title after a certain amount of years. And that is nonsense. It is absolutely ridiculous. Because imagine nobody owns the land and you take up yourself now and thinking that is crown land. You are thinking so you have to wait 60 years. Forget one title. Land shouldn't be an issue for no Jamaican because as much land is here for everyone to get a piece. That's true. There is more than enough land for everybody to own at least 1 acre property. Every family can own an acre property and live comfortably. We don't need all of these craziness going on about land. But back to the topic at hand. You can literally claim a piece of land. And I'm going to clear up some misconceptions that a lot of people have. And then I realize it. Other countries help their people to own house to live. So why this barbaric quick? Hey, listen, you see, everywhere have a system, and it is not every system that is going to be beneficial for everybody, right? For some people, it is beneficial, and for some people, it is a detriment. So, we just have to pick a struggle, right? In any country, knowledge is the best advantage you can have, hands down. Knowledge is the best property you can have, best offensive. Because if you know the law, right? If you have knowledge on something, there's always some advantage you can have, right? So, right, crown lands again are for public purposes and public services or infrastructure. So, like the roads, we can say, okay, it is so-called crown land or crown property, right? But it has to be used for a public purpose or a public service. And can't just own it and claim, say, well, a freeway. No. Because the government is created, it should be created by the people. I can't even say created by the people because it is not. We are still overseen by the crown. They are just silent in the public, but they are loud in I guess I can say in private quarters. But anyways, how are these lands divested? Right, so them talk about how them sell crown land. The Policy Framework and Procedures Manual for the Divestment of Government-Owned Lands 2015, which sets out the guidelines for the NLA to divest these lands, govern all dealings with crown land. An applicant interested in purchasing crown land is required to complete the prescribed application form and return same to the NLA for processing. So there is an application form if you want to so-called purchase or buy or acquire government land. Right? So that is called a divestment. So for those who want front page property and something that is in a certain area or whatever the case may be, if it is that the government own it, you can fill out an application form to request information on acquiring it or purchasing it. Please note that the process involves dialogue with key stakeholders who may have beneficial interest in the property themselves. Notice they said beneficial interest in the property, right? Who is a beneficiary? A beneficiary is a member of a trust. And as we see over here in the Crown Vesting Act, right? What it say? Held by him and his successors in the said office in trust for Her Majesty. So they're talking about the same trust. All the lands that are acquired are put into a trust. This is why, anyway, we're never get into that kind of level of detail. But the beneficiaries of this trust may have a problem with letting go of the land. So whosoever is managing the property has to consult with the beneficiaries before they can decide whether or not they are going to allow that piece of property to be acquired. This property may be reserved for future public use. Right? So it was used for something before, in the past, and it may be reserved for use in the future, such as the construction of a school, police station, hospital, etc. So again, it comes back to the same thing. It has to be for a public purpose. If they don't have any plans for it, or if they don't have any kind of details regarding what the land is going to be used for, they may just let go of it. Right? But again, those talks is going to probably take a long time. Other stakeholders would be asked to comment on the proposal based on their statutory authority, such as the municipal corporations, the National Environmental and Planning Agency, etc., while some will be asked based on the proximity of the proposal to their operations, such as a police station, school, etc. Remember, everybody was converted into a municipal corporation, right? Remember that, right? So literally, everybody who in every parish is a stakeholder. Anyways, we're going to move past that. Where lands are vacant and can be made available for divestment, they are advertised in accordance with the Government of Jamaica's land divestment policy, unless the applicant meets the criteria to be classified as a special case applicant as per said policy. To whom are crown lands divested? Crown lands are divested to government ministries, agencies, departments, as well as private entities and citizens. Private entities, like other trusts, like things that the government don't control, right? Inquiries relating to applications for land. The NLA receives numerous applications and inquiries for land. However, not all lands can be made available for divestment, as the NLA will prioritize the interest of government entities as they act in the interest of the public. The list of government of Jamaica assignment of subjects and departments, agencies, and other public bodies can be found on the website of the Office of the Cabinet, or via so. So that has to do with Crown lands, right? So now we know what Crown land is. We know that Crown land is only those lands that have been acquired by the government. And we know that not all of the unused lands in Jamaica is Crown property. Right? Here's the other kicker. Knowledge is power, you know. Knowledge is power. Right? When you register and acquire a piece of property, let me rephrase that. When you acquire a piece of property and you go and you register it, you have given up administration of that property. Let me say that again. When you have acquired a piece of property and you go and you say, I'm going to pay up the taxes and get one title, you have moved out of the realm of landowner to, from landowner, to landholder. You have given up the estate management to the government. That is what your registration does. That is why you hold a title and you don't own the actual property. You become an holder. So now the government is managing the property on your behalf. That is what the taxes are for. The taxes itself is the management fee for managing the property for you. Everybody in this system, right? Now you can trade, now you can interact, now you can transfer the property to somebody else through the government. So the government becomes the public administrator for all of those properties that comes into its possession. So all of those people who are landholders, they can never own the property if the property description remains in the government's system, because the government is administering the property. You are administering the public trust. You have now placed your property in the public trust. So now, those who are in the private, meaning, you see them people who just go find a piece of land, chop it out, fence it round, build one little house on it. Those people actually own that land. It sounds strange, don't it? It sounds crazy. But think about it. Let us... Do you get it out? Do you get what out? Let us go through a scenario here. Let's say you build one piece of house for one property. Right? You build a house on a property. You don't have no title. There, a matter of fact, you see one bush up piece of place. And you say, you know something? A long time I watch a piece of property, I know. I don't see nobody. I do nothing with it. So you know, you go, you fence it round. 1/4 acre, fence it round. You clean it up. You get one bulldozer man, come and bulldoze off a tree, them, dig up wherever. You say, alright, I got to deal with a piece of land. I want something. I want something for you and say, yeah, I have something I got to lay in my head. You get one foundation, dig out. You build up one 2-bedroom. And you dig up the side. You plant 2 banana plant now, whatever. Yeah, are you that? Right? Now you say you capture a piece of land. So now you have a gate, you have a fence, you take care of the property, you dip on the property. Years and years pass. You dip on the property, you're good. Right? So we'll get to the comments. So you have secured that piece of property. You have been taking care of it, right? Now, let's say someone comes around later and say, what I know upon that strip here. Everybody with upon this part of road, the government is asking you to vacate the premises because you are not the rightful owner of this property. So probably 1-3-4 acre people. Because you come, everybody says you are right. So somebody now say, yeah man, may I get one piece side of yours. And I saw people start take time and build up, right? Some have board house, some have concrete house. Everybody have one like a piece of something. Government say, yeah man, you can't just come here and just come sit down so. That not gonna work. Alright. So now the government say, we are giving you notice to vacate this property. It is crown land, it is government property. You are not paying taxes. Did you know that you don't have to go anywhere? You don't have to vacate nothing until the government shows a public purpose, or the government comes with a title, or the government comes with an executive order. You don't have to go anywhere. And if the government insists that within a certain time you are going to be removed from the property, you can now get an attorney, or you can go to the court and you can demand an injunction, and the matter be settled in court. Absolutely, King. Does the nature of the right to property under the Constitution entitle the citizen to claim land? Absolutely. Because what happened? Over time, when we had independence and we had the Constitution instituted, the government never owned the property, so they couldn't give nobody nothing. The government did not own the lands of Jamaica, so they could not have given anybody anything. Right? They only declared what was public property. All the beaches were supposed to be public property. All of the institutions are government property, meaning the schools, the courthouses, the police stations, the hospitals, all of those things are public property. They are government institutions, right? They are being governed by the government. They are being managed by the government. So now if the government want to take it off, they have to now prove the public purpose. They have to show the proposal of the work that needs to be done. They have to show what is supposed to be where they're trying to get you off of. Or they have to show that the government own it. They have to come with their own title. Because when the government purchase a piece of property, you know, they have a purchase receipt. They have some kind of vesting transfer, something that happens from one entity to the next. The government is an entity. So if it is not documented that the government owned the land, they have to now prove the public purpose for which they are going to be using the land for. And guess what? When they prove that, they still can't just take you off. Them have to pay you for come off. So for the people them who catch them afraid and get up and run away, I feel them problem that. Then just lose out on everything because you did not know you're not supposed to do that. Right, then can't just show up after one day. That is not lawful. To acquire the property, you have to go through the lawful channel. So if the government, this is the other thing, if the government go out there and destroy people's property, you can now go into the court. Again, you need evidence for everything. So you need pictures, you need videos, you need all kind of things, right? You submit your claim to the court for the damages and to claim restitution for the government taking your property. Just because they come and them manhandle you, them bulldoze down your place and all of that, that does not mean that that is the end of the story. You can always bring the government to court and you can go and claim back all of the things that you lost as a result of those actions. Because, again, unless it is a voluntary transfer, if you decide that, okay, fine, government, I will give you the piece of property and you pay me this amount. Because otherwise, it is an unlawful taking. It is a destruction of property. It is a violation of your property rights. My cousin is being relocated for the new highway and a 2 mil they're giving for the house. Right, you can reject it. You can reject it and say, you know, it's either I get this amount or we go through the court process. The government can't just come and just take lands up because it has to be market value, meaning it is what the property is worth if it was on the market. All right? All right, let's get back to the comments. So we have... Then the government will say you don't pay land tax, so they can't pick your garbage. Well, you find another way to get rid of your garbage. Come on now. Let us look at it this way. Is garbage disposal that important where you can't do it yourself, that you would rather give up that property just because they can't pick up your garbage? I don't know. I guess it's up to each person, but I don't find that to be something that I couldn't deal with. Right? When I start reporting live, I see the agents are back. Welcome. They giving you and a government. If the garbage was an issue, that would be great for me. Isn't this a reason for the Naira? We still don't see the Naira bill. Gary, Lawful, welcome. Giving 8 million for this big land, bro. And the value is going up every day. Again, those are offers. If you don't recognize that it's an offer, you will think that that's your only option. You can refuse it and give notice that you will proceed with the matter in court. Right? You don't have to accept what is being offered to you. Right? Thought there was another question. All right. So I think we're going through those comments. Yes, so drop the gems. It's an act now, no longer a bill. I haven't seen the act, so I can't even say. But yes, according to what I've heard, right, where they are attempting to go around and give people the option of applying for a title, right? Which means that you would have to pay up any tax they claim that is owed on the property. What about getting legal light? JPS tell you need a title before they can give you light. I don't know what to tell you about that one. We're not going to get into that conversation. But are you sure? Did you actually go to JPS and let them know you own the land? JPS can't ask if in a title. I don't think I've heard that one before. Even water. Water, once you are there on the property for a good amount of time, I haven't heard JPS asking for title. Yeah, man, Rowan, Lawful, greetings. Right, investments say use solar. That is the first thing that comes to mind as well. You know, you have to look at what other options you have, and it may be better than what the government is offering. Right? All right, we're going to bring you up. What was that? MBTV, look like you're gone. All right. So, people, we have to think about solutions. Not all the time things are going to be straightforward and clear cut. And again, I'm not picking on anyone. I'm just saying, if you run into a roadblock, this is why we need communities. They ask for proof of ownership. Okay, well, here's another way you can prove ownership. You can, if you are good with your neighbors, you can ask your neighbor to write an affidavit. 4 or 5 affidavits from your neighbors to say, yes, you have been, as you can say, occupying this property for, I don't know, over 10 years, right? You can get evidence from the people around you to let JPS know that here are other people who have submitted affidavits that can attest to the fact that I am the individual who lives here, right? That can count as ownership. That can count as evidence of you being the exclusive occupier of that piece of land that you are trying to attempt to get electricity for. Beautiful Breeze by Bree. Lawful, greetings, welcome. All right, Sydney, you're up. Gonna take one question before we continue, because we have limited time tonight.
Me come up good now. When I
Yes.
say, I don't say JPS thing you talk about or anything else.
No, we're on the topic of land.
Oh, land.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. But all right, when me I say no, because when me do ask them if how you think about this if you can work out. So because upon the land said, all right, me have my land, you know, right? And the government say me fi eat what me grow and grow what me eat, right? All right, good. Tell you that, you know, and me plant some banana. Like when me plant some banana on my yard back here, so now and some planting. Me have 2 bunch of planting and me have some banana on my yard back here. So see? All right.
Yeah.
Let me tell you the truth, me have 4 banana, 4 shoot, one I plant shoot, one so shoot, you know. And when they come in now, and suppose me share up one with my neighbor them, me can eat up the whole light. And me put 3 in my chunk now and say, alright, me go market go let it off. And police see me now and tap me and pull me chunk. And I go ask, tell them I go ask me for rather ID. What kind of stupidness that now, man, I go tell me, say, no, my brethren. And if me can't have no rather ID, I go confiscate it or give me ticket or charge me. I have to go court. Remember one of the things when me plant. After you encourage me to plant, eat what me grow and grow what me eat. And you turn around back now. You turn around back now tell me, say, no, me go look, brother. When me apply, me sit and buy me fertilizer, me dig the hole and clean up my place and say, you never tell me so we get rather ID. And now me plan me thing. Right? And now you go tap me a road. Tap me a road like what they do with the lady and charge the lady how much money and all that stuff. For your one and good. You know, see a crime now when you commit me brethren.
Again, you know, brother, knowledge is power, you know. Yes, if it those who don't have the knowledge about what is going on, people always are gonna take advantage of it.
Explain
Yeah?
to me more now. For me case you know, because me can eat up the whole light and me plan for share up to my family and be at home. No say no a bunch up there and that means me I go have 3 left plus me plant me bunch of plant. And me feel like I go let them have even pay me tax, even help pay me tax now and them all keep up them food. You know, say explain to me now when you say knowledge before, make me know because me understand.
All right. So as everybody know, I can't give legal advice, but if I was in that situation, right? Just like if I get a ticket, I just go to court. You go to court and you demand that they prove that you are selling anything or that you are doing something commercial. Just because you have 3 Hannah plant in your trunk or wherever. Show me the evidence. Say, this is why I need to get a RADA ID, or this is why I need to get a commercial license, or this is why I need to get green plate. Whatever. Ask them for the evidence.
No say hand, you know, because you not go through every 3 hand. Me attack bunch. And
It
3
no
hand are
matter.
just.
It no matter. It don't matter what it is.
Me not think I'm going to charge you, I give you trouble for no 3 hand. If you see 3 bunch now, different from 3 hand.
But hear me I say. But hear me I say. Whether you have 1 hand or 50 hand in your car, in your van, in a whatever, them have the burden of proof for sure say you need a commercial license in order to have that.
But them go that me I say, but them go hold your goods. Them go hold your goods, you know. Them go hold your goods until you go to court and
That's fine.
You go to 3 weeks. You go to 3 weeks or so after, you know, 3 weeks or a month after before you go to court with them things. So what happened to my goods? What happened to my goods them time, you know? They ripe up and spoil.
They ripe up and spoil and you get your money back. Whatever it is worth, you demand it back.
You see as simple as you look for me, boss. And me tell you the truth. You go to have to just left that. Because when government, if you feel win the case and government figure you then 3 hand of banana there, and then 3 bunch of banana there. It'll come like a 5 years before me forget if you make 3 bunch of banana. You know what's the government and when you come and then feel go back money give you.
That happened to you? That happened to you?
No, but you know that's why you go there now. Government
No.
now. The government let go money give you, brother. You go there tell us to get a liar. That's what they intend, brother. Me I tell you the truth.
But if you ask a question, I may give you an answer, right? You have, if you don't try, it's all right. If you do nothing, then you lose everything, right? You know, so the longer them take for pay you, interest grow up on the money. I know me I say so, you know, or the court says so. From the time them wrong, the court demands that they pay interest on whatever the value is for where them wrong, you know. That's how court orders work. So it's not a matter of you can't get nothing back. Because even if them take so-called long to pay you back, right? If you good spoil anyways, if them take 2-3 years and then them have to pay you 300,000. The 300,000 are better than nothing.
Yes. But me I wonder say, well, I don't know. Like what you say never really happened to me yet, you know, but the law will pass me, I say, you know, still. But, you know.
Right, because remember, you know, just remember this. Just remember this, just like a ticket. If somebody go to court, you are not on trial. Are the person who accuse you, that is the person on trial. That it is the witness that is on trial, not you.
Hey, you know what I say? As you said that now. Me don't know what I say now, cause alright, you know what I say, me run taxi. Cause me is a taxi man, I run taxi. And several times the man them carry me go to court. And the police not come, you know. The police not come. They arrest the officer who give me ticket, him not come. And then put it off and then don't do nothing to the police, no. But I bet you if I me never turn up, you just say arresting warrant come out for me, no. So me don't understand something that my brethren. You see, I make it look too simple, you know, man.
Because
if you say me disobey a court and they had a warrant for me if I'm in a church where they can take me out. How much time me go and the police not come?
but
and they
brother,
not do the police nothing.
it is that simple. It's just because you never hear nobody explain it.
Like how?
You say me make it sound simple.
Yeah,
Have you done anything that I have said?
Yeah, well, all right. Well, as you say now, say the court business there. Me I tell you, say, you say, I them the pan trial and not me. And if them the pan trial and not come, and you know, lock them up, but you don't lock me up. That's why me say, me don't understand that, because what you say, no, and them the pan trial be proved to me, say, I'm me wrong, and them not come and they not get charged with disobey order. But I bet you if me never turn up, they send anyway they see me they lock me up, come in.
You know why?
Talk to.
You know why?
You know, tell me.
May I ask you, do you know why that happens?
No, that's like me ask you to tell me, because I don't know.
No, you see, you never ask a question. You tell me what would happen.
Well, my brethren, don't me tell you I'm a taxi man.
All right, hold
the
on.
man no go to court. Well, the
Hold
man
on.
no go to court and arrest
Yes.
him and come for him. Take him
Hold
off
on.
and stand and go with him.
Hold on a second.
Yes.
You go to court. Do you know any of the court rules?
Some of them. You don't know
Which
everything.
one you know?
Say thing what me tell you, say, if you not go turn up a court, them are going to send an arresting warrant for you. Me know that to
All
my
right.
heart.
All right, let me explain something to you. Because we're going off a little bit off topic, but I'm going to explain something to you. So
Yeah,
maybe
man.
this assists you in the future. Zin?
Yeah, man.
And
Yeah.
again, me just say, if I did me. All right.
Yes.
When you have court, every
Yes.
institution have rules. All of them.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go in and you try use common sense, that not have nothing to do with the rules. And when you
Yes.
see happen, you now realize it is a part of the rules happening. That is why those things are happening. Okay? So a part of the rules is this. In order for somebody come to court, you have to be served.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Just because you get one ticket by the constable, that don't mean him have to come to court. The time when him have to come, I when time the court send out a subpoena for him. A subpoena is something where the court is requiring that you come to the proceedings or them issue a bench warrant. That is the same thing that happened to you if you don't go in. The problem is sometimes the bench warrant is sent out and the constable is not served. So if they not serve the constable, then the bench warrant is not active. Now, if the constable is served and he still not show up, and the judge says he gets served and he still not show up, that is when them dismiss the case for want of prosecution. Now, what could we do in the middle of all of that? The first time you go to court, them say them a set a mention date, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that you can say something right there and then?
You mean like question the judge?
No. You can say, Your Honor, I would like a speedy trial.
No question the question. I be
No.
tell her, ask her then. Ask
That,
her.
no, that is what you call asserting a right. You have the right to a speedy trial. So you say, Your Honor, I would like to demand a speedy trial. The first immediate date that is available, I would like that trial date. If for tomorrow,
Yeah,
I will come back tomorrow.
Yeah, but yeah, man, yeah, your point, my virgin, but the point where me I say no, you know, yeah, since that what you say a while ago, you know, me not go on, but me I say, all right, what it now? Say the man, remember I say you get served for go court, you know, so you get the paper and you sign to it, you know, so you have to go court the 25th, call this at the 25th of the month, and you have to go court, all right, you know you have to go court, good. Bam, you never go, you know you have to go, you know, you never go, all right. You know where a judge know when they call on you, man, you not go, you know. You're not going to send police come look for you anywhere them see, you know. When they call a warrant, then you arresting warrant or another warrant for you. If I'm in a church, or if you're married, then come with you. Any
That's
great
not
come,
true.
say, go take it. Said, well, man, I said, take up a stand and go with him, man. Because they say disobey. And what they call it? Court sitting on that. Take him up a stand and left the car. You have to go park the car. Or somebody carry a yard and then go with him.
But,
And
yeah,
the most
but you just have to see the effect of what happened.
because I never got caught.
You still not understand what happened. You just have to see the effect. You don't understand what happened, why them arrest him. Look how much people have outstanding ticket where them not pay. And police now lock them up.
Because them we don't know what go on there, so man. Them only go
Right.
something from police.
Right.
Something from police now. We know that.
It is because not every case the judge is going to issue a bench warrant. Only for those who have a bench warrant. Those are the cases where if the police stop you and them see say the court issue a bench warrant, yes, they might take you out of your clothes and carry you going and sell or carry you go to the court.
Yeah, but Aye, you're right there, sir. No. What you say? Me listen here. You say the third time because me turn up the first time the police no come. And then, like I say, Officer James, here, Officer James no come. Then call him in there. Then put the date for one next time. He still no come, but he coming third time. When he coming third time now, all right, he try. Then he say me have to pay $6,000 and me pay it and me come out, right? Good. I went $8,000 deposit, me pay six. Must it true, me go 2 times and he not then give me pay six. I always say co-op always cheaper more than tax office. Right? But when me I say now, this thing is funny man. It's funny bad. Because me know say done so the brethren has claimed say boy him never remember him miss the day trying to remember about something when they gone with him and them must have come for you up on weekend so them and make you sleep at day. On weekend or you left have something and then give you a blind and say alright, come check me Monday or Tuesday morning early long so when me carry you up so next day you will sleep at jail. You don't know running go already. And that
Right.
taxi man already. See? So but Franny if you come a court and you tell me say him on a trial, you know, when me believe you. Can know me? I have to prove and you not come 1 time to prove it. You not come 2 times to prove it. So what do you bangle you? What do you
Yes,
bangle him?
because him never get served with a warrant. He never get served with a subpoena.
Aye, you funny.
Right.
But they find him a third time though.
It all depends. Because like me say, some people, them not get served and the court have to have it in them records say the individual get served.
Yeah.
Deal? But that's all the questions we can take for now. We have to move on still.
But
See?
yeah, come off. Yeah, lock down now.
No, we still have to continue upon the land thing. We're not finished up yet.
Oh yeah, alright, yeah man. The lad. So we don't know it gonna work, my brother. But I just said that so we don't know. It come like we have got through some punishment still. Because all them things they are foolishness, man. If you see a man and same so animal, you know.
Right.
You don't know say if me have a ram, your son, you don't know you go and you have a sheep what and a big ram, me have an in call and me say alright, you know you put your ram in your car back and you have to go service. 2 goat down so carry back your ram. Right? And police see you. See it after you want you know. You have in some problem and after you want nobody no say them thief nothing but you have to go write yourself for things you have for you. Right?
That is better than nothing, you know. That is better than nothing. But here may I say we have to continue this next time. This is next time we can have question and answers, but we have limited time tonight, Papa.
Alright, my birthday.
Yeah, man, big up yourself.
You know, you can't go put into a word for me, you know, because I look like they will listen to you more than me.
That's what we can do.
Yeah, but it's what you can do.
Yeah.
Because I tell you the truth. When I go send my banana, when tap me a road, you know, in now go work, I want to take me things, you know, me nothing to work out so pretty, you know, so. Me don't know, so if we can make them change their role, I answer. I tell you the truth.
Well, me only have my platform. I don't really have no contact with them, so me see what we can do.
Alright, sir, respect.
Respect. Good.
Yeah, man.
All right, peeps. For those who are requesting to come up, we're gonna bring up people, but we're gonna finish up on the land topic, and then we can ask some more questions and answers. See? So, make we just finish up on the part, yeah? And then we can continue with question and answers and whatever else you want to ask. So, we have this whole thing called capture land, right? Now, we go through the part there where people can just go and see a piece of property. It is not being occupied. It is not being maintained. Nothing is on it but bush. Bush and sometimes tree. If you go and you fence off that property and you go care for it and take care of it and even build a house on it, nobody can just come take it off. Them have to go through the court process. The government is no exception. Even if the government have so-called project what them do, them have to go through the court process to acquire the land. In this day and age, them can't act like people are slave, right? And the government don't own any of the unused lands that are in Jamaica. You can look at the legislation, the Crown Vesting Act. It shows you that the Crown has to acquire the land for public purpose. The NLA has published on their website, which we just showed a while ago. Them have to acquire the land in the legal way. And if they are going to acquire it, they have to give you fair market value for the property. Let's talk about squatter. Because we hear this all the while. Let me say, people are squat on the land. You know, people are do this and people are do that. And we need to ensure that everybody follow the law. If we are to follow the law, there is no legislation, there is no law that describes what a squatter is. Let us say that again. The law does not have anything to say with the term squatter. What is referred to as a squatter? A squatter is somebody who go on someone else's property and start maintaining it or start occupying that individual's property. That is who a squatter is. It has nothing to do with unused land, unacquired land, or land that does not exist in the database of the NLA. It has nothing to do with that. Okay? So, when we hear the term squatter, it always has to do with someone else's property. It has nothing to do with you capturing land. That's nonsense. But again, if you don't know, if you keep on thinking, oh, because somebody say, I saw it go, I saw it go. Find out for yourself. Go and look for yourself. Take a look. Look what I showed you, right? The Crown Property Vesting Act is 6 pages. 6 pages. So, even if you didn't want to say, boy, I can't bother the heap of reading, you want to tell me say you can't read 6 pages? 6 pages too much for you to remember? And you don't need to remember everything. You literally just need to read section 4.2. And it tells you all about land acquisition by the government. The government cannot own private land. Let me say that again. The government cannot own private land. Nobody is a squatter just because them not pay tax. Tax is an administrative fee. Let me say that again. A tax is an administrative fee. You see, the people them who don't want to administer them own estate, the people them who want somebody care for them land. Denise, Lawful, greetings. The people them who want sell them land, the people them who want transfer them land in the trust. Because we don't realize that it's a public trust. We not put the land description in. You are letting the government manage it for you. They might do all the paperwork. They might do all the administrative tasks. This is why you are paying the tax, which is the fee for putting your property in the government's trust. So, if you did not take someone else's property, you are not a squatter. All right? So now, if the only time the government comes into play is when there is some kind of adverse challenge with a property. And even so, it has to go through the court process, which we know takes what? Years. Especially if you don't know how to proceed, that is going to take years. Okay? So, the other thing, like we mentioned, if you are being demanded to vacate your property, never leave your property voluntarily. And if it is the case where someone comes and destroys what you have put on your property, then you can now go to court. Remember, you still need evidence. You are the administrator in a private capacity. So you need to maintain records, you need to keep pictures, you need to make a video, you need to do whatever you can of your property. If you have built a property, you know, you're going to take pictures, you're going to take like a video of it, building and all that, something. Keep your own records. So if the time comes where you have to defend your property and you have to go to court, you can show that you have expended $4, $5, $10 million building and upkeeping your property. So when the time comes, if someone destroys your property, you can claim that money back. You can claim that money back. Right? Got questions. If I put it in a private trust, do I still pay taxes? It depends on what we're talking about. If we're talking about a property that was titled, there is no way around that. Yes, you would still pay the taxes. Natstar say, what is the alternative to deregister your property from the government to reinstate it as a landowner? Cannot discuss that over here. Generally speaking, yes, you can. But that is not something I can discuss here. Where you come from, every inch of land in this country is owned by the state, the government. I can't even see a name. Quad Ganti. Quad Ganti, you come a class late. I have just showed not only the law, I have also showed what the NLA had to say publicly. And you can keep on thinking that in your head and you can do as you please. But for those who know and those who want to learn and those who want to do otherwise, they have the option of doing so. If that's what you believe, hey, we can't stop you from believe that. Right? But I don't go by belief. I go by evidence and facts. Alright? You said that. Hey, maybe. Maybe. Alright. So I'm going to bring up Delroy. I'm not sure if you're still there. But you can come up now and ask a question. Delroy, evening, Lawful. Alright. Delroy is unavailable. Let's see who else is in the box. Got 9 silver. Bringing you up. Alright, 9 silver gone too. Oh, no patience. Alright. Rowan, you're up next. Rowan, Lawful, greetings.
Greetings. You can hear me good?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, me have a quick question. In a civil suit, the judge make a judgment against you, right? And the person can't afford to pay. Is there anything they can do?
Yeah, they have to go back to the court and describe the circumstances. Then can't complain to you.
Say again? No. All right, say it's me, right? And the judge made the judgment, and I moved to the Supreme Court, right? The Supreme Court hasn't made a ruling yet, but if the Supreme Court make a ruling and upheld what the judge did, and you cannot afford to pay, then what next?
You let them know you are unable to pay the judgment. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the details are, but if it was me,
I can give you a quick synopsis of it.
well, hold on. Me don't want to address a specific court situation because that would be
Okay.
So let me give an example how I would handle it.
Yeah.
If I get a judgment and I can't pay it, I would go back to the court and I would say I would need reasonable terms for which I can satisfy the judgment. The current judgment I cannot handle. I cannot successfully complete it. So that would be now up to the court to make it equitable for you. You're not saying you don't want to pay, it's just that the pressure it would take to satisfy the judgment in full, just right away, is not economical.
Okay.
So now the court would most likely say, all right, show me the expenses and what you can afford so that we can come up with some kind of thing.
So you have to file this in the court?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'd asked an attorney about it and he said they lock you up and let you out every 3 months. I don't know if that's true.
That's a lie. That's a lie. Especially if it's a civil suit. The first thing they're gonna do is Because if they lock you up and you lose your job, it makes it worse.
All right.
So the purpose of the court is not to punish you per se. It is, to make sure that if you are liable for something, you are able to satisfy that judgment. So if it is that you can satisfy the judgment, but it is just too stressful to handle your regular life and satisfy the judgment, they can rearrange
No,
it.
but it's a humongous sum. I can't afford to satisfy the judgment.
Well, you can, even if it take 30 years.
Yeah, so I guess hopefully the court give a payment plan.
Right, you can ask for leniency and some way that you can manage it and still be able to support your family and yourself.
All right. So
Because-
is there to approach the court about the payment? Is there a specific a name of the filing or something?
I can't, specifically say what you can file, but where I would go, I would say, write an affidavit, an affidavit of something,
Yeah.
and you list out the facts as it relates to the situation, and that's how I would go. But
Yeah,
I can't say specifically.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the information. That's good info. One more thing, you had sent me the information for the vaccine thing for the child, but for some reason I can't find it. I beg you to send it to me again.
Well, if you go to voiceofjamaica.com, let us go.
Yeah.
On voiceofjamaica.com, if you go to downloads,
Yeah.
and you go to free docs,
Yeah.
and then you will have all the files here.
All right.
Yeah. So
Because another me that tell another friend of mine about it, and she wanted bad too. So
yeah, so it's right there in the middle.
all right. Vax. Okay. All right. Thanks, Bridget. Remind me, you make the donation again.
No, we don't do donations.
Oh, not the donation?
No.
Yeah?
No. Non-commercial over here. We don't do any kind of monetary exchange.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I thank you very much, because boy, every time you come, me book you up, you teach me something, because even this land something, yeah. Where this evening, boy, when you start pay tax, you get the government. Yeah, pay the government for managing property for you.
Right.
It is so simple, but if somebody don't explain it to you, it's like, you think it's automatic.
Right. Yeah, because that's what you're born into.
Yeah. It's like your birth certificate and your name.
Right.
You teach me so much, boy. I thank you very much.
Yeah, man. Anytime.
Yeah, man. Respect.
Yeah, man. Big up yourself.
All right.
All right. Cool. All right. Let's see who else is coming up. We got user 810. Can you speak briefly on how to stop your employer from handing over your taxes from your salary? Natstan, what is Natstar? No, I cannot speak on that publicly. That is for a signatory conversation. User 8105, welcome. All right, you're not ready yet. People, if you're coming in the box, you have to be ready, because you can get called up at any time. Jerome, you're up next.
Yes. Just a quick question. What land is classified as a farmland? Because when I went to the land agency, they said to me that the land that I acquired, it classifies as a farmland. Could you explain that for me?
Well, it is based on what's called zoning, right? So the government can designate an area for a specific purpose. And that is how it becomes farmland. There is no other real criteria. It could be on a hill, it could be on a flat, it could be mixed. It all depends on land composition and what the intended purpose is.
So because what really happened is when I went by the land agency, there was an owner by the name of such and such, but then it stated farmland, but there was a previous owner, but I don't know what the transaction between that owner and the government, or if they sold it out maybe to bauxite or anything, but it classifies as a farmland, which there were some other persons, like family members, came by, doing their thing, saying that they own the land. But when I checked it out, on the background, they said it's classified as a farmland. So it kind of really, kind of bugs me out a bit.
But what's the problem with that classification?
There's no problem, but it's just that I don't really understand. So I'm trying to get the real concept of the land.
Oh,
okay. Or like the fact that it's classified as a farmland.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm just trying to get that concept.
If it is classified as a farmland, most likely the previous owner, depending on how many transfers happen, it was never taken out of that categorization, right? So if someone is using it as a farmland and they stop using it as a farmland, but they never went back to NLA or to the land agency to designate it as something else, it is going to stay like that.
Oh, so first they have to put it in as a farmland, like the previous owner has to put it in as a farmland.
Right.
Oh, but that person is passed, so I'm just wondering. So he's still classified as a farmland.
Yeah, because they don't update records unless you go and tell them to.
Oh.
They don't know what's going on with it. They can't even manage their own property, so they're not gonna figure out. Oh, you come to pay tax. Is the land still being used as residential? Is it still being used as farm? Is it still being used for whatever? They're not care. They just want the tax.
Yeah, but it's definitely still used as agricultural or farmland. Yeah, because I acquired, the same possibilities of a farm or farming.
Right.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
Well, that's just
somebody just save you a lot of headache. Let's put it that way.
Okay. All right, that's just it for now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, man. Big up yourself.
Yeah, man. Cool.
All right, J Money, you're up next. All right, look like J Money is gone. All right, let's see what else we got. So we cannot talk about that. All right, what would be shown on the title? The title might show a designation for agricultural purposes. Can a residential dwelling be legally built on farmland? Yes. Yes, it can. So that's how they took one in. I'm converting it to residential. Right. You can always convert land. The only thing is that most likely some surveying will come around depending on the purpose. How does the government go about selling land that is held in a trust? The government is operating as a public trust, so for you, it wouldn't look any different. For the government, the administration would look different in the background. All right, Rowan, look like you're back. Gonna bring you up. Yes, Rowan, Lawful.
Yeah, me again. If the government approach you to put your land in their trust, can you refuse? Because I'm thinking there should be two sides to it.
All right. This is a larger conversation.
All right. Me understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, you want to know? All right. We can't have those conversations in the public. Let's just put it that way. What What else do we have here? How does the government go about selling land held in trust? Oh, so I just answered that. You wouldn't see anything different in the public. You see, Robert, the question was, can we talk about the government trust and how they administer or refuse to participate in the trust? We can't talk about that in the public. That is definitely a no-no. That would get my channel probably shut down. So I can't talk about that here. But if you're a signatory and come to class, you can certainly ask those questions and we can go deeper into those conversations, but not right now. So when we talk about all right, so are we done with the land questions? We're good to go now. We have a few more minutes. So we can ask all the other questions now, because I think we covered most of what we can say in the public regarding land, right? Capture land is land that is not occupied or owned by anyone. A squatter is someone who is on someone else's property, whether it be government property or someone who actually has title for a piece of land, right? And the government does not own all the lands in Jamaica. The government only owns what's called crown land or vested land or public property. That is another way of looking at it. If it doesn't have a public purpose, the government cannot own it. The government cannot own private property. All right, Natstar say, why the court honoring tickets issued for random stops by police without RAS or reasonable articulable suspicion of a traveler? It should be of a crime. Can be RAS of a traveler. All right. So you ask multiple questions in one, you may not realize it. So number one, if someone accuses you of something, it is up to you to challenge the accuser. It is not the other way around. Like I said, when you go to court, generally speaking, it is the accuser who is on trial. It is the individual who is claiming that you did something. They are the witness. So if the crown witness does not show up and you show up, then you're automatically going to win because you are present. You are there to face your accuser according to law. You are there to challenge the matter. You are there to ask certain verifying and qualifying questions. If the constable don't show up, then there is nobody to ask anything. And therefore, if there is no witness, then there is no case. Case dismissed for want of prosecution. Case dismissed for failure to secure a witness. Whatever, right? Now, as far as being a traveler is someone who is not engaged in commerce. However, if you don't have any restrictions on your license or the use of your license, and you're presenting your license as if you are an active licensed user, then that is what the court is going to assume. I talk about this many times, but I can't go deep dive here. A traveler is someone who is not actively engaged in the use of the license. Let me say that again. A traveler is someone who is not actively engaged in the use of the license. What does that mean? The license is for a specific activity. It is called a driver's license, right? You also have something called a business license. Let me ask you a question. Is your business license active or in use when you're going to your yard? Is your business license active when you're on your way to go to your business? Is the business license active when you lock up your shop and go home? No. It is only active while you are doing active business. All licenses are the same. This is why they can be revoked, they can expire, they can be suspended, they can be conditional, right? A license is not a right. You don't have a right to have a license. You have a right to contract. You have the opportunity to contract, but at the same time, it is not mandatory. This is why it says, if you look at the Road Traffic Act of 2018, what does it say? If you desire to get the license, if you want to go get the license, if it is that the license was mandatory and required, it would have used that language. It would have said every road user that is using a car, a truck, or any kind of four-wheeler more, or whatever, right? You need a license. You shall acquire a license. The words that they use are very straightforward. So if it doesn't say that you shall have a license, that means that there is someone out there with a specific status that don't need a license, right? Me not tell nobody if you gotta do anything, you know. But again, if it was the fact that you are 100% required to have a license whenever you are on the road and traveling, then that would mean that the law would specifically state so. And if they state so, that means, again, they would also fall into some other issues, because the right to freely move about, or the freedom of movement, has been classified by the Supreme Court to state that nothing in there says you need a license. The Constitution never said nobody need a license. So how you come about now requiring people to have a license? Did it go through the proper constitutional tests before it was enacted into law? And the answer is absolutely not. Suppose a beneficiary under a will is of unsound mind. Who becomes responsible for that person? The trustee would become responsible for that person. I mean, it's the terms of the trust. Most likely it is a trustee that handles the affairs of the trust and beneficiaries. If graves are on the property, is it that you should still pay taxes on said property? Technically, yes. There are a lot of nuance there, but properties that have people buried on them, they are considered condemned property. So you should not be paying taxes on it. But again, what is in law is not necessarily what is in practice. You know, what the government says or what they tell you is not necessarily what is in the law sometimes. So you have to look into it and see. And again, you see, if you have properties in the public, right? It is in the public register. It is in, you know, it is in some kind of book or record, right? If you don't pay the taxes and later on someone tries to sell the property, they are going to have to go back and pay up all those taxes that you missed before the property could be transferred. You can't sell a property and it has taxes owed on it or encumbrances, right? Someone is owed some benefit from the property. It has to be cleared first. Please explain the license again. I will eat me say about the license, you know, which part? All right, we have Y Mills Mari. You're up. Excuse me. Y Mills, greetings. Hello. All right. Oh, Dennis. I got Dennis. You're up next. All right, look like Dennis gone. So the license, all licenses are for a specific activity, right? And if you are not currently engaged in licensed activity, the license is not active, right? All right, God, I'm bringing you up. God, greetings.
Yes, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah. I just catch a license. I just in my car.
Yeah.
I just catch a license. I just want to explain a little for me, please. The driver, it was driver's license or whatever license you was explaining.
A driver's license and business license. Right. So the driver's license is for a licensed activity. Right. So if you are not engaged in that activity at a specific time, then that means the driver's license is not in use. For example,
Okay.
the term driver and the term driving is not defined in the Road Traffic Act, and it's not defined in the road traffic regulations. Now, when you get stopped by a police, how do they refer to you? Them say driver.
Yes.
Them not gonna say traveler, or them not gonna say sir or ma'am. They're gonna say you are the operator of the vehicle, so you're the driver.
Driver, yes.
And they might tell you that. Right? So now in your brain, it is reinforced that you are a driver.
Okay.
So now, again, if you don't have a problem with that, or you don't know any better, you're gonna say, all right, why problem? Me a driver. Right? So you're going to accept that. That's not true. A driver is someone who is engaged in some kind of trade or commerce. That is why they don't put it in there as a definition. Right? So now you sit down there and say you're a driver just because somebody called you a driver. And then when you get into problems now with the court, you still don't say or do anything about that classification. So now the court is charging you as a driver that is not defined in law. Right? And let us show the people who might wonder what the hell this man talk about. This is the Road Traffic Act of 2018. Right? Alright, we're going to mute you for a second. This is the Road Traffic Act of 2018. And if we go down to the definition section, right? Here we have what it say. Driver license registrar. Driver offenses register. Right? Go up a little more. It have driver license. Where is the definition for a driver? It have constable. It have constabulary force. It has director general. It have document. Right? Driver license. Right? So now, there is no definition of a driver. So if someone calls you a driver, including the judge, you can rebut that presumption. You can say, I am not a driver. I was not driving. And the judge are going to say, so what did I do? To my knowledge, I was traveling. I was not engaged in any kind of driving activity. I didn't need a license to do anything that I am doing. Nowhere in law does it say that the driver's license is required for you to be operating a car. No, I am not telling anyone to go do anything or say anything. This is for educational purposes. Okay? Here where it says for driver's license. Driver's license means a license. Let me bring it up so you can see. A license referred to in section 25(1), which entitles the holder. It entitles the holder to drive a motor vehicle of the category noted on the license on a road, subject to any conditions noted on the license, or a driving permit referred to in section 41(1), which entitles the holder, again, while in Jamaica to drive a motor vehicle of the category noted on the license. So we drive there. Where's the definition of drive and driver? There is no definition. Let's go to section 25(1) that it mentioned here for the driver's license. Right? Section 25(1). 1. The authority may, subject to section 26, on considering an application for a driver's license under section 21. Right? So the application for the driver's license is under section 21. Right? So let's go to 21 and see what it says. Section 21. So you see it's saying it all over the place? Then I want to tell you everything up front. What section 21 say? Every person who is desirous of obtaining a learner permit or a driver license, if you so desire. So let me ask you a question. If somebody desires something, is that a requirement? Is this mandatory language to say, why it never say every person who obtains a driver's license or who intends to drive, or every person who operates a car is required to get a driver's license? Here it say every person who desires of obtaining, desirous. So this is an option. Again, I tell you say, no figure get one, because you have to know what you are doing. Knowledge first, action later. Every person who is desirous of obtaining a learner permit or a driver's license shall apply. So it say what? If you desire to get a driver's license or a permit, it say you shall apply. What does shall mean? Shall means must. You must apply to the authority in the prescribed form and manner to be issued with the permit or driver's license. So if you desire to get the license, you must apply. Right? So this again is an optional language. Why? Because the only way for you to be driving, let us go to the legal dictionary. We covered this before, you know. But we're going to cover it again. Let us look at Black's Law Dictionary 9th edition. And let's look up the term driver. All right? I get this question all the time. Development, dismissal, despair, divorce, doctor, domicile, double, DR, joint, driving, driver's license, driver. Right? So, this is one definition, and we're going to look at another one as well. Because I know some people are going to say, see, why you not use that definition there? Why you use the other one? Driver, a person who steers and propels a vehicle. 2, this is definition 2. A person who herds animals, a drover. Driver license, the state issued certificate authorizing a person to operate a motor vehicle. It is also often used in the form of identification. Automobiles. Driving, the act of directing the course of something such as an automobile or an herd of animals. Right? Now, this doesn't have any historical context. So, we're going to look at another dictionary to give us some more context. So, let us look at the same Black's Law Dictionary, but we're going to go to the 4th edition. Let's see if we can find the term driver. Death, de-escalation, dolly, duress. We're going to show the differences, you know. Due, drove, droit, drive. Drive it, driver. So I'm going to show you the slickness, right? So here we had Black's Law 9th edition, right? It not saying nothing about what it entails and why you are classified as a driver. It just say a person who steers or propels a vehicle. Now if you go to an earlier edition, it gives you more context. Driver. One employed in conducting or operating a coach, carriage, wagon, or other vehicle with horses, mules, or other animals, or a bicycle, or a tricycle, or motor car, though not a street railroad car. A person actually doing driving, whether employed by owner to drive or driving his own vehicle, right? So when we talk about driving, a matter of fact, let us talk about a license, right? And let us pull up a license. Let us go, I'll go back to 9th again. I'm going to pull up license. Come in, just one, tell you no. I want to see it for yourself. License. Leave. Lex. Liberia. License. All right. Here we have license. Hold on, licensee. Hold on. Here is license. Licensee. Hold on there. Can make sure I bring up the right thing. License. All right, here we go. License, as you can see on the screen. A permission, usually revocable, to commit some act that would otherwise be unlawful. Especially an agreement not amounting to a lease or profit appendage that it is lawful for the licensee to enter the license or land to do some act that would otherwise be illegal, such as hunting game. A license is an authority to do a particular act. So the question is, we have freedom of movement in Jamaica, right? The Constitution say what? The citizen is free to move about anywhere in Jamaica and leave Jamaica and enter Jamaica. So why do we need a license to move about? Why do we need a license according to the Road Traffic Act? We don't. It tells you plain and straight right there, if you desire to get a license. So this is what's called your unlimited ability to contract. You can enter into any contract you want, even contracting with the government. So when you choose, when we are educated or we are fed propaganda to go and get a driver license and all the way now go out and get a license, then that means that whosoever give us the license can ask for it at any time, right? Because it was a permission. It wasn't something that is fixed. It wasn't something that is required by law. It is because they gave it to you, that's why they can ask for it back. But at the same time, you cannot be penalized if you are not conducting the activity at the time when it is claimed, right? But more importantly, right? Here you know. When you get a license, it is not yours, right? So what are you called when you get a license? You are called the license holder. You see it say? It shall be an offense to apply for or hold a permit or a driver's license in circumstances where the applicant holds another permit or driver's license of the same class. So the amount of time it tells us that you are a holder. The question is, if you are just holding the license and you are considered an holder, who is the owner? Most people don't ask that. You just figure say my license. So if I your license, why them I ask feet? The license is not yours. It is property of the government. It is the evidence of the contract with the government. That's all it is. Right? And you are subjecting yourself to the contract that you signed up for. Right? So that is it for the license. That's what we can get into right away. All right. We have Kong. All right, look at Kong gone. So, other question is, for those who are still on the live, because we know we had a lot of agents, we have a lot of people who just, them don't have much of an attention span, right? For those of you who are still on the live, do you want us to do something about all of this? Do we want to change the system? Do we want something other than what we see? Yeah man, God, lawful. Anytime. Do we want to change what we see, what we are experiencing? Or do we just want to just find a way to work around it? Because some things we can learn how to work around it, right? But some things for everyone else. What about all the people who don't even know about my platform? What about all the people who can't read all of this and even understand what it is saying? What about all the people who are now suffering as a result of not knowing what is going on? What about all the people who have passed because of not knowing or being in a system where you are born a slave? You see, Bob Marley said it before, you know, we don't have chains over our hands and feet anymore, right? The chains have been placed on our mental capacity, right? Rowan, you have another question?
Your registration for your vehicle run out. The government didn't issue any new registration to you, but you still get charged if the vehicle is parked at the yard and not on the street, and they know it's not registered.
Yeah, you were speaking before the microphone come on.
Oh, I was saying the one I would like to see change is the one with the government, the registration on your vehicle run out. It is parked at your yard. And if you take a year or two to go back to re-register it, they charge you for registration that the time that passed, but you didn't know you didn't register your vehicle, it wasn't on the street. That is the one I would like to see change because it don't make no sense because you issue me the registration. I didn't come to you for one, but you still charge me for the time that's
Okay.
passed.
Okay, well, we're not even, I mean, that is that is trivial when we look at the larger scale of what we're talking about here. How about a full system change?
Right?
When I say full, I mean complete.
Yeah. Hey, I'm with it. It's just that I can't say what I want to say on here.
No man, best. How long have you been on the platform?
For months, since last year.
Okay, so you have seen parts of the constitutional draft that we were drafting then.
No, I haven't seen it, so it would be nice if you could tell me where I can go look at it.
Okay, the same website.
All right.
Voiceofjamaica.com. Right?
Yeah.
For those who want to see the previous draft, I still haven't posted the updated draft. But if you want to see the previous draft, you go to voiceofjamaica.com. You go to the first post which says new constitution. You go there, and here you have the draft in PDF form. Right?
Yeah.
So you can take a look at what I'm talking about, generally speaking. Now, this is a backwards version, but it will give you an idea of what we're talking about when we say complete change.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's what we're going to talk about now. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So big up.
Respect.
So people, if you want to see what we consider to be change, a complete system change, drop a 1 in the chat. In this context, shall means choices whether or not I want a driver's license. It is not a must for. Okay, if you say so. Even Justice Batts came out recently and gave us the definition of the word shall whenever it is presented to the Supreme Court. And that word is absolute when you stand on it. It is not a discretionary word. So, regardless of how we might feel about it, yes, Justice Sykes, yes, Chief Justice, right? Regardless of how we feel about the word or what we think about the word, when it is presented properly before the court, it is a mandatory term. Shall is mandatory. Okay, so if you're desirous, if you want to, then you shall apply for the driver's license. There is no other way to get a driver's license because you have to sign the contract. You have to fill out the form. You have to sign it properly. You have to present a JP signed picture. You have to go through all of the steps to show that you are serious about getting the driver's license. So, you know, I'm just speaking from a lawful standpoint. I don't entertain opinions on the matters. So if we want change, if we really want change as a people, right? We should first know that we are living in a colonial system. This is not conjecture. This is not opinion based. This is specifically looking at the law that we have in the country. The body of law is from colonial times. And even our lands are still vested in the crown. Right? It clearly states here that the Commissioner of Lands, which acquired the properties from the Chief Secretary in the previous administration, the Commissioner of Lands now hold all property in trust for Her Majesty the Crown. So if all the lands that the government is using is for the Crown, right? For Her Majesty, that means that everything the government is doing has Crown interests involved. It doesn't have, nowhere in any of this legislation do you see the people. The people. The only thing that has the people in there is the Constitution. That's it. You have certain rights, and that's it. Everything else is the Crown. So, regardless of what you might feel the Constitution is, or you might feel this legislation, that the law is in support of the Crown. So, the Crown is what is still controlling Jamaica. If I am wrong, tell me say them abolish this, the Crown Property Vesting Act. Tell me say it is not active. And tell me say what we are seeing here is foolishness. Let me zoom it in for those who are wondering what we're talking about. Wait, say, held in trust for Her Majesty. Right? Now, if we're going to do a full, complete system change, right? Remember, you see, all of the people that suffered before we come about, all of the people that suffered before we came about and can enjoy certain things, right? They had to sacrifice. They had to sacrifice their livelihood. They have to sacrifice many things to allow for us to be able to enjoy certain things in our lifetime. But guess what? You see when time you get old, or you see when time it is your time to pass, there are certain things that you don't know. There are certain things that our parents don't tell us. Some people then gone before the time, then think they need have time, and then I get to tell with certain things. Certain people then make certain sacrifices that we probably say we never asked them to do that. But guess what? They did it anyways. And here we are. Almost every family, I can't say 100% for sure, but almost every family have somebody who go out there and go do something that caused the detriment of that family. And you see that detriment that they cause, that is what is holding much of us down. Many of them who went ahead and they did certain things, it is why you can't move ahead in a life. It is why you can't hold on upon the money. It is why whenever you get little bit of a break, there comes more burden again. There comes more problem. There comes everything in your path where you can't have peace. You can't have a period of just, yes, me can relax, you know. Me not have to worry about this, me not have to worry about that. It is because of the sins of our fathers and our mothers why many of this is happening to us. So in order for us to move forward, know thyself. Want to hear that before? Know thyself. While we try to understand what that means, the greater thing escapes us. Because then throw these words in front of us and tell us it written pan door and it the over here saying Egypt and all them something there. But knowing thyself is knowing your family. Knowing how to use and gather the power of your family. If you notice, most of we not talk to our family members. Most of we want to get away as far as possible from family because what? Them bad mind, them conniving, them backstabbing, them beggy, them this, them that. From A to Z, family, right? Some of them actually loving and caring, but you know, one their own, some of the other one them. Right? Come on, say you don't want to talk to you. Right? It is our family. Believe it or not, regardless of how you feel about your family, it is the strength that is behind everything that you accomplish. Regardless of how you feel, regardless of what them do, regardless of what some of them do, the ones that are here and the ones that are, well, most of the ones that have passed, they were the ones who put the strength behind what it is that you currently enjoy. So as bad as you might feel or as not so happy as you might feel about your family members and all them people there, that don't matter. You ever hear the term blood is thicker than water? Well, I am here to tell you that your family line, your family tree, your bloodline, that is the thickness it a talk about when it say blood is thicker than water. What all of this mean? What may I get to? Right? What this a build up to? You see, I have to give a little bit more information before I share this with you again. For those of you who were on the previous live, you might know what we are talking about. Right? Back in the days, right? You see, when time people get up and then do some foolishness, then can't wait. Right? Then can't wait for certain things. So them go to some people and then try do something. Them want hurry up success. Them want bad mind somebody. They don't want somebody elevate forward and them have to go through for them trial and tribulation. Them don't know what people go through, you know. But them don't want to see somebody else strive and survive. Them a show off. They think them better than people. Me I go put something on them. You see them kind of something there is what hold back them future generation. And them action there, them contract there, them kind of something there, stir up. And that a cause we downfall right now. So, most people don't know. Said that is what is happening. When you hear about principalities in the Bible, it is families. Your family against somebody else's family. This family will want to control everybody's family and try attack everybody else's family. That is what is happening. And you see the people them who used to get buried with them belongings and them gold and them chain and them this and them that. You see when time them things that happen, it is said, I don't know if it's true, it is said that when you get buried with your belongings, that is what go with you in the other side, over the other side. That's how we transition with you. Right? So now, for the people them who them just put them in a hole, you go over there, poor. You transition with nothing. Right? So if that is true, where if them bury you, them put your body in the ground, and you see some people dress up in them clean clothes and them have on them bling bling and then this and then that. As ridiculed as they are, and as how people look upon them strange, it is said that at that status them are go over there. So with what about the people them who pass away in a jail? What about the people them who have a violent pass away? What happened to the people them who did in a bandage and them something there? What happened to them? That means when them get to the other side, them confined too. When them get to the other side, them also in a one prison. What about the ones that were cremated? Again, how did they pass? And under what circumstances? The one they will get cremated, hey, enough time them put them in a buckle, don't. Enough time people get cremated, then put them in a one confinement. What do you think are going to happen on the spiritual side? Not good. You should be released. That being said, let's say any of that is true, and all of your power, your family lineage is being confined in some way. But you are the only one who can assist in restoring them. And in restoring them, you gain back the power. You gain back what you are supposed to inherit rightfully. What if that is the case? For your family, you as a creator, say you are a creator. How do we know this? If you take one seed and you plant it, most likely it is going to grow. You take one piece of cane and you plant it, what happened? It grow. Right? If you take one piece of wood, you can make something. What are we doing when we do these things? We are creating. It wasn't there before, and we do something and it now comes to fruition. What else do you call creation? Taking something out of thin air? Creation is an active process, right? You have to do something to get something. So as a creator, when you speak, you can actually speak in a water, and the water changes molecular structure. When the water change molecular structure and you drink it, it now becomes beneficial to you. So, at the end of the day, if you don't realize that you are a creator, then all of the power that you can potentially have, it is just wasted. You just sit down and look. Yeah, look to other people for answers. Just by speaking the power of words. Nobody, when not there so, when not alive and a walk, what we call alive and a walk. Nobody else not have voice. We not hear people talk to we what we can't see. How comes? And we alone have that power. So, if you would like to restore your generational power, if you would like to break the generational bondage that you have been facing, you can go here. You can go to voiceofjamaica.com. Right? And in the menu, you have something called My Voice. See it right there, so? If you're up on a mobile phone, it is going to be on the top left in the menu. You go to the last option that says My Voice. And here, you will have the instructions on how you can restore your family power. Okay? Can't see and get nothing for free. Here is how you can restore your family power. The instructions are there. The words are there. It is up to you if you feel it is something positive for you. Okay? You cannot screenshot it. With the instructions, it is just too big for the screen. I don't think, yeah. It's too big for the screen. So you have to go on voiceofjamaica.com and click on My Voice, and you have the instructions and you have what you can do. Okay? So I'm going to leave it up on the screen for a few. Desric, if you're still here, I'm going to bring you up. All right, look like Desric gone. So, just as it right, I saw you have to say it. You can't convert it to English. All right? Just as it right, that is exactly how you say it. And you have to follow the instruction. They're right there, so. And that is how you restore your family power. It have nothing to do with no foolishness. You don't have to go to nobody. You don't have to go mix up nothing. None of that foolishness. And this only pertains to you and your family line. That's it. Okay? So, if you want to see change, this is step 1. For those of you who are wonder what class is like, this is not even the tip of the iceberg. I mean, we don't really talk about spiritual things in a regular class. But if you want to restore your family and you want to start to change, you want to be a part of what Jamaica should be, this is our first step. Why? Why would somebody even consider doing something like this? You see, the same way we look at it and I say, say the whole of we come together, say the whole of we join forces, say the whole of we for protest, the whole of we come up with a solution. What you think your ancestors them a do? What you think the ancestors them a say? Them can't even get to you because your brain clouded. Your vibration is not high enough to even receive a message. You ever see something like corner of your eye? You ever see like something move and you look and nothing did it? All the attention them I try get and you don't have no knowledge, you don't have no connection with your ancestors them because your ears say a dopey, or your ears say a this, or your ears say a that. Right? Now imagine the same thing where we want, yes sir, are the same thing where ancestors them want on the other side. And the only thing stopping them is because them in a bondage, just like we. And the only way for them get out of them situation, for you actually take a little bit of action on this side and release them from the contracts, from the agreements, from the confinement, and all them something there with them a face on the other side. Your words alone from the bloodline can release them. What if we are able to do that for them and in turn, them can give back the power we need to move forward? Genos, what go on? Our genius.
What they all listen?
Okay.
What they all listen to? See what listen what go on now?
Zin?
Yeah,
Alright, big up.
big up, man. What they up?
Yeah. So imagine, yes, Kim, imagine we clear up the pathway and our ancestors can assist us, can bring back with courage, can bring back knowledge what we never have before, can open up doors, can stop spiritual attacks, can stop people from mess with we. What if it is because we not authorize them to act on our behalf? Why them can't do nothing for we? Why them can't protect we? Why them can't ensure say we move forward in our life? What if it only takes something simple as this to get it done? Isn't it worth it to take the chance to release our ancestors and make them gain back them power and strength to protect we, however way they can? What if? So there you have it. The instructions are there. You go to voiceofjamaica.com. You click on My Voice from the menu and you have the instructions right here. You choose if you want to do this. You choose if it is something beneficial. You choose if you want your family power to be restored. This now has nothing to do with nobody else. This can't help nobody else. This can't elevate nobody else but you. Right? But this is where it starts. You have to release them so that they have the freedom and the authority to start assist on our behalf as a family. Everything where happens between families. My family against this is somebody's family. Your family against somebody else's family. Everything is based on your family. Even the whole land situation. You know, say, if just one family member decides, say, here we go on, me I go get one 5 acre land. And this piece of land is strictly for build house pan. And any family member will come forward in the future, them can get piece of the land and build something on it. Or pass on the property to somebody else. And that's a well start. And that's a well start. Michael said, yes, it is. Release them. We need the good ones to be released. Here's the thing, you know. You see, our concept of good and bad, you know, is only right here upon the physical. See? You see, when time them get on the other side, you don't really have the concept they have of good or bad. Them know the thing them what them do when are beneficial. So you have beneficial and you have something that is destructive. Just beneficial and destructive. There is no good or bad. Right? So all of them know what them do and them see the effect. Them see the effect of what it has. So at the end of the day, you don't really have no bad ones per se. Some of them just them have more courage to do certain things than some other ones. Right? But just like how we can see now, say certain things might not good for we. Certain things they might do, I say, yo, may I do this for my future or for my future generation. And we might not look on it that way. There. You see it? So it's just a different way of thinking. Exactly. It's always the people them who depend on the land and walk. And them always have the intention to do some kind of nefarious thing. It is never a spirit. Because, again, spirit not have no control, no command. Spirit not have no kind of creative power. So if you have your family behind you, you would be amazed at the power where you can wield. Again, to get here, you go to voiceofjamaica.com. Let us go back here, homepage. You go to voiceofjamaica.com, right? See it right there, so? You scroll down and you click on My Voice. That is in the menu. My Voice. And there you have the instructions. Yeah. So again, you alone can benefit from this. This doesn't have nothing to do with nobody else. Just you and your family. If you never have no connection with your ancestors, hey, it's always there's always a chance to do so. This is not about connecting with your ancestors, by the way. This is simply releasing them from any kind of bondage or contract or confinement that they have on the other side. That's all this is. So, when we start work on this side, in the physical, them can have a back on the spiritual side. We don't need to try to do everything by ourselves. Say that again. We don't need to try to do everything by ourselves. Your grandmother, your great-grandmother, your grandfather, your great-grandfather, going all the way back. We should know that it's just a transition. Nobody not gone. It's just a transition. So if there is even a slim possibility, so them did they wait upon the command, them sit down there like one army, sit down in a one cave, and then just wait upon a command to say, yo, you have the authority to move out. Wouldn't that be good? Wouldn't that be something that we can use to our benefit? Wouldn't that be something that we can all benefit from? Imagine all our family them join up on the other side and start move in our benefit. Enough of the things that we are going right now, stop right away. Coming up this week, we're going to talk about some other changes. We're going to talk about the final draft and why it took so long to complete the constitutional draft. What we see the last time we talked about the constitutional draft, right? What we see here, I can't even tell you some of this thing here. But This is only 30%. This is only 30% of the complete draft. But we will talk about this and reveal what is in the rest of the draft this coming week. And we're going to talk about the next steps coming forward. We are in stage 2. And if you really want change, like we say, go to voiceofjamaica.com. Click on My Voice. And here you have the instructions to get your ancestors them back on your side. Alright? So, that is all we have tonight. I hope you had an informative and educational live and session. Yes, I'm Mara, Lawful, greetings. And we will continue to get other minds open and get our families restored. Zin? Because we have great work ahead of us. There is something that I wanted to mention, but I am getting the sense it is not time yet. So I will save it for the right time. Alright? So in this coming week, we will talk about other solutions as we move forward. So big up on yourself. Lawful, always. Good night.